Konnichiwa, y'all, and welcome to our Kryptonian 10 at 10. I think it's a historic one today. We've got a great 10 at 10 for you. This is the 10 at 10 for October 3rd of 2023. Maybe one of the most historic 10 at 10s we'll ever do.
I'm pretty excited about this. I think this date will be a very important one for me for the rest of my life. I'm real excited about this one. Guys, I'm Tim, that's my brother Matt. We're MrMaple.com, a family mail order business. We ship directly to your door. And every Tuesday and some Thursdays, we're dropping 10 new trees, which is really 20 new trees on our website at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Make sure you sign up for our weekly email. You'll get the full listing of these in your email ahead of time.
We love that 10 at 10, guys. Stay tuned to the end of this video for a very special Mr. Maple announcement.
So y'all, you ready for this Kryptonian 10 at 10?
Let's do it. We're bringing out Kryptonite, y'all.
So this is gonna sell out really quick today. Make sure you check out fast. There's gonna be plenty of people who don't get this tree today. I'm sorry.
This is the first time.
This is the first time it's been released. It's gonna be released again later as well. This is a variegated Makawi Yatsubusa that basically has variegation like Manya no Sato, but with that tight, densely layering habit that everyone loves about with Makawi Yatsubusa.
Collectors are after this one. This is a special tree. It's my favorite form of a variegated Makawa. That's saying a lot right there. I think it's one of the best variegated Makawas out there. It's consistent, its textures, its color, everything about it is special. Kryptonite really leaves out in the early spring kind of green. So you're gonna look out in the early spring and you'll be like, I don't think it's variegated. Within weeks, you're gonna start to see flushes of swirls of yellow over top of that. We named it Kryptonite here at our nursery because it makes me weak in the knees. First time I saw it, it took me out like I was Superman. I was begging for mercy. I couldn't even believe what I was seeing. It was just glowing and emitting those Kryptonian rays toward me. And my Superman powers had nothing against it.
So make sure you check out fast. Our website doesn't hold it for you just because you add it to your shopping cart. So I throw that out there. But unfortunately, many people won't be able to get these today. Make sure you check out very fast.
Now, Kryptonite does have a PPAF on it. This is a patented one. We did put a trademark and a registered patent on this one, so it will be asexual propagation prohibited. We're going to be able to license people to produce this one through MrMaple.com. I think it's going to be a collector's dream and one we're going to offer for many years to come here at Mr. Maple. Acer palmatum Kryptonite. I don't know how we beat that, but stick around for the end of the video. We're going to beat it.
So guys, coming up next, we've got Acer palmatum Looking Glass Falls. This is a selection from our Area 51 collection, like Kryptonite, but this one's in our Pendulous Treasures because it has such a heavily cascading habit.
Love this plant. Named for a local waterfall here in Western North Carolina. Many of you may even traveled to Looking Glass Falls. We carried on that famous Japanese tradition of naming maples after waterfalls in the region. Now, Looking Glass Falls leaves out with that bright purple border to it in the early spring. It is a dramatic, kind of an elevation of colors on a Ryusen style Japanese maple. Has everything you get with that with a little bit more.
I like just how you get a little bit of that border on this tree. It's a fantastic tree with great fall colors the rest of the year as well. I mean, an amazing weeping habit, fun to train shape. These make great hanging baskets because they're low grafts. I mean, some giant sizes on these Looking Glass Falls.
Almost cartoonish looking leaf. Love how this one forms. Gets about as big as you stake it. Looks great in a container or a hanging basket. My favorite way to grow this one is stake it up to about 5 to 6 feet tall, let it weep down from there, and get that elegance going on. Early morning sun, late day shade will hold that border later into the season. Really a showy plant.
So next we've got an Acer Ceboldianum.
We got Shiryu no Sume, y'all. Claw of the Dragon. Really cool name. I love when a tree has a perfect name for it. Claw of the Dragon fits that completely. Every leaf looks like a dragon claw just reaching out of the garden to grab your attention.
Now the leaf texture is phenomenal. It basically looks like you took a Ceboldianum and crossed it with a lunar lobum, and you get this very unique leaf-shaped leaf that is unlike anything else. It really looks like a claw of a dragon. The fall colors on this are bright yellows and orange, and it's one of the most amazing fall colors I've seen on a Japanese maple, but the leaf adds so much texture and uniqueness to this tree.
Yeah, it's not a lunar lobum, but it almost gives that graceful feel in the garden for sure. And I've had just some of my favorite orange fall color on any tree ever on this. I've had it be one of the brightest oranges I've ever seen. Phenomenal tree to be growing in the landscape. And we love anytime we can to offer Acer Ceboldianums.
I mean, awesome plant. So next up, we've got Acer palmatum Vanessa's Gold.
Guys, these are huge, huge trees. Phenomenal sizes on these Vanessa's Gold. I tell people a lot, but this is a great time of the year to be buying plants because the sizes are spectacular.
This tree has a really nice bronze to golden new growth in the spring, turns green, and then during the summer months, you have a really nice shade of golden to bronze again over top of that. That just adds so much to the garden with a really nice upright form. This is a Matsumuri form, which there aren't that many selections of those Matsumuris. Love the leaf shape. Fantastic tree for the springs and the summer.
It'll almost give you some upright lace leaf vibes. It'll remind you a little bit of something like Seryu, but with more color. It's truly a Matsumuri because of that leaf shape, some large overall leaves. Phenomenal new addition here to what Japanese maples can do. Another Makawa form. All right, y'all. We got some tattoos for y'all.
Guys, these are some giant tattoos as well. These really should be potted up to 3 gallons. If you look up here, this rootstock, it's huge. That means this has a huge motor behind it. It's going to continue to push a lot of good growth on this tree. Tattoo's known for being one of the slowest of the Makawa types. And this thing's got a motor behind it, so it's really going to get some good growth for you, even though tattoo's typically a slow grower.
Yeah, if you wake up with an unexpected tattoo, make sure it's from MrMaple.com. These are phenomenal. They're great sizes. It is a great tree for the container garden. Think of a Makawa Yetsubusa, but more dwarf with a ruffled regal leaf. Really shows out on that ruffle to it. Every leaf has a little bit more curl going on, just giving it a little bit something extra.
I think these are probably the biggest 1 gallon tattoos I think we've ever offered. I mean, I've never seen a 1 gallon tattoo from Mr. Maple this big before.
You know, if I might get a tattoo myself to commemorate this historic day, I'll plant one in the garden.
Guys, next up, we've got Acer Palmatum Radiant.
Acer Palmatum Radiant, phenomenal, variegated, high impact, sparkling Japanese maple. Really just radiates color in the garden.
It does. In the springtime, you get some really nice shades of pink and white splotched all across this tree. It has a unique style of variegation, which is somewhere between a Rita no Nishiki and Koshibori Nishiki. I mean, it's neither, but it's very unique and very different.
I love this one. It shows out. You can get some swirling in the bark, which is nice on this one. One of the most spectacularly variegated Japanese maples you'll ever see. Great fire engine red fall color as well on this one. And you can get some colors that almost rival Tim's shirt over there in the fall. Phenomenal plant. And one I think is a great one to add to the garden for sure. If you like the flashier Japanese maples, Radiant's got to be on your radar. All right, guys, we got Crimson Carol back in the mix.
Guys, Crimson Carol is a selection by Talon Buckholtz himself.
Hashtag Buckholtz Week.
This plant is pretty awesome. It's a nice mid-sized upright tree, and it has semi-pendulous branching. It's not quite a Murayama, but it does have more of that lateral branches with a slight weeping down habit to it. It goes to a really nice shade of orange-red in the fall, really some nice crimsons kind of colors, and the leaf shape is that it's basically a red Matsumuri.
A beautiful plant. This would be a great pairing with that Vanessa's Gold. Both heavy Matsumuris, both unique colors. I've had this be phenomenally pink in the fall as well. So one of my favorite times of the year is when this one kind of hits some bright pink-red shades. Just so colorful in every single season. Tends to be a very multi-stemmed, upright tree with that Matsumuri leaf. Makes a great palette for all that color.
Thank you. So next up, we've got Acer Palmatum Miss Maple, another introduction by Talon Buckholtz.
Now, my wife said I had to get this one for some reason. Sometimes my tag says Mr. Maple, sometimes hers says Mrs. Maple. I guess before we were married, she was Miss Maple. Maybe Carolina can be Little Miss Maple. I don't know. Talon Buckholtz introduction. You know, being Mr. Maple, we had to have Miss Maple. I love this one for its crisp green growth. You kind of get some pinkish new growth going on in the summer on this one. It really shows out. It can almost get some shades of yellow at times. I think its coolest look is that early summer where it's a real light, fresh green with some pastel pinks over top of that.
I remember when I first found out about this tree, Matt and I were doing a presentation for Talon Buckholtz for the Southern Nurserymen Association. And Matt and I were like, you know, Talon just couldn't make it to the presentation and basically asked someone else to give the presentation.
So we walk off. Here's how the story goes. So Don Shadow's there, and we give our 30-minute presentation to, at the time, one of the biggest groups we ever spoke to. It was over 350 people in the room, nurserymen galore. It's the Southern Nurserymen Association in Atlanta. We did a good job. So we'd been reading Talon's notes, and Don was originally going to do the presentation. So we get up, we finish our presentation. I think Bree Arthur was in between us. We walk off the stage, and Don Shadow goes, You killed it, guys. I'm gonna have you do talons as well. So one of our crown achievements are we pulled off talons presentation that day. Nobody knew any different.
No prep work.
I hadn't even seen the presentation. We're literally clicking on the slides. It's a quiz show going on in front of us. And luckily, Tim and I had done our research. So we'd got a lot of these early from Talon, but we'd also done a lot of research on the ones we didn't have.
But at the time, Miss Maple was one that we didn't have, but I knew about it. And I saw it in his presentation. And I was like, man, that is amazing. We're Mr. Maple, so we had to get Miss Maple.
And we're sitting there in the presentation like, oh, that one's a nice one too. I got to get that.
How many people are going to think that Miss Maple is a Mr. Maple introduction?
Probably. All right, grab that one today though. Miss Maple back on Mr. Maple. Elmwood Spreader, y'all. Let me fix the disc on this and pull a little weed there. Elmwood Spreader, really nice lace leaf, incredible colors, and actually a little bit of bark interest to this one as well.
Dare I say it, this is probably the coolest lace leaf that you've never heard of if you hadn't paid attention to Mr. Maple before. This plant is pretty awesome.
Say it, I dare you.
It has some nice, really nice orange-red color in the spring. It turns to a really nice shade of bronze during the summer. And the bark itself can really get to some really nice shades of green or green yellow. And I've really seen some really green yellow colors during the winter months.
Oh yeah, you can actually get some light pales. It's almost Aoyagi-ish for sure in that color. It reminds me a little bit of Dr. Brown as well. You kind of get some funky colors going on where it continues to change all season. You get some bricks, some pinks, some oranges. There's always something a little bit different going on throughout the spring month. A little bit more of a burgundy early on and then just continues to change.
I've had so many people see this in Maplewood Gardens in the winter with no leaves, and they thought that it was, in fact, a coral bark, like winter interest type of a lace leaf. And I say, not saying
really count it, but it kind of does. I mean, it definitely has some aspects of that.
And it's not coral, but we often say in that coral bark family, there's the Aoyagi, there's Nanya, there's these plants that have some really nice winter interest. And this one really can give you some really excellent winter interest. You know, Matt and I, we can go to an arboretum during the winter and enjoy all the plants anyways because they've got such a great structure. And this one's going to have a nice structure. But that bark interest really brings it in the fall and in the winter.
All right, let's finish out here on the table, y'all. Here's you a Patsy, Tim.
Guys, these are some giant Patsies in 1 gallons. Huge.
It's like a 20s insult. Don't be a Patsy, buy a Patsy on a MrMaple.com.
Now, Patsy is a very unique tree. We got it from Dell Laux years ago. And Dell has introduced so many amazing plants from Akakawa Hime, Beni Hoshi, Emerald Lace, so many classics. And shortly before, Matt and I made good friends with him. And not long before he passed away, we got this introduction from him. And this tree is just amazing. I mean, you see this tree out in the landscape, and it's a 6 to 8 foot tree in 10 years. It kind of has like a dwarf cereus kind of vibe. But the spring color on this thing, it gets a really nice purple border around the edge.
And really, another unique upright Matsumuri. Definitely gives you dwarf cereus, kind of conical cereus vibes to it. Phenomenal tree, whether it's in the spring color or in the fall. You get that incredible purple border going on this one. I think it's one that's going to be, a definite asset to your garden.
I mean, for an upright tree, this thing just gives a nice soft texture out in the landscape. And it's a tree that is simply amazing.
And that's one of my favorite trees, Acer palmatum Patsy.
Now, that is a cool tree you need to add to your garden.
Guys, a lot of people are going to be after that Kryptonite today, but we've got a very special announcement for you guys. Here we go. Stay tuned. We're excited to announce this. It's a very historic day here for MrMaple.com. Guys, we appreciate each and every one of you viewers being part of it.
I'm so excited about this announcement. Let's get to that.
Hello, I'm Matt and Tim's dad. And I started growing Japanese maples back in the 70s. And I used to grow them in my backyard as a hobby. And people like Japanese maples, so I started selling them. People to work with and taking them to garden centers or garden shows and selling them or tailgates. And my hobby turned into Mr. Maple. And I'm really proud of what Matt and Tim's done with it.
The first time Tim and I visited Buckholtz Nursery was in '09. It was the Maple Society meeting, and Tim and I couldn't be more excited to visit this magical place. I know before we left for then, we had a yard sale and we sold basically everything we owned to be able to afford some plane tickets to go out to Oregon to see what all this was about. and to kind of expand what we were doing. And one of the biggest parts of that trip was getting to go and see Buckholtz Nursery. And it was a magical land. It didn't disappoint. It was like going into Willy Wonka's chocolate factory. It was something I'll never forget that first time we got there. And it was worth selling everything we owned to make it happen.
We not only sold everything that we owned, we cashed in on all of our future birthday presents and Christmas presents, and all of our aunts and uncles gave us money just to go to this Oregon trip. And one of the things I remember is when we went and visited Buckholtz Nursery, they had a poster of Buckholtz Nursery. And I mean, walking around the nursery and everything was just amazing. I mean, I saw a rainbow for the first time and my heart started pumping. And I was like, man, this place is amazing. It's a dream. And then later on that night, Talon was actually at the same hotel in Tigard, Oregon that we were at. And Matt and I played rock, paper, scissors to go see who would go up to the door and knock and ask for his autograph. And I ended up losing, ended up going to the door and getting Talon to autograph, and he said, "Best of luck, Talon Buckholtz," on the poster. And that's just something that I'll always remember. I mean, we've looked up to Talon for years, and Talon has been a mentor to us.
We try to keep that passion going always here, and one of the fun things about it is we're always thinking big. I think it's time to spark that interest up. It's time to get excited again. And it's time for the next phase here at our nursery.
Like I was saying, I'm very proud of my two sons, Matt and Tim, the way they've handled Mr. Maple. And now I would like to say I'm especially proud that they're buying Buckholtz Nursery.
Hey y'all, it's September 29th, and if you've put all the tea leaves together, Tim and I've been out here in Oregon. Today we officially sign on as the new owners of Buckholtz Nursery.
Man, I truly feel blessed. We're just about to go to the lawyer's office and sign. I mean, we couldn't do this without y'all. We really appreciate y'all.
Guys, this place means a lot to us. It means a lot to Maples. It means a lot to Talon. I know he's thinking about it a lot today, and we're just excited to continue on the legacy that Talon Buckholtz has started here at Buckholtz Nursery. All right, guys, well, it's September 29th. We just finished doing some paperwork to sign on as owners of Buckholtz Nursery.
And I'm very happy about that, and the energy that they're going to bring to Buckholtz Nursery is most welcome, and they made the process easy. And I've been in business for 43 years and have enjoyed most of it, but I knew it was time to retire, and I wasn't sure what was going to happen with the place. At one point it even seemed like it would all be liquidated. We're standing in front of probably the largest Makawa Yatsubusa maple in the world, and I feared for its future. And now, thankfully, I think it's safe and going to be well cared for. So I appreciate Tim and Matt for their support over the years. I've watched them grow into a very successful company, and I know you're all happy with their product, and they're going to take over Buckholtz Nursery and regrow it again. I told my wife this is the second happiest day of my life.
That's a good compliment.
And then she quickly said, after our marriage, right? And yes, dear, after our marriage. So I'm just glad to be on this recording, and it's one of the best days of my life.
Oh man, we're so excited. The best is yet to come, and I think it's going to be a perfect partnership here. The two businesses are going to be amazing together. I think it's going to work really well hand in hand, and I think we're going to be able to benefit what you do here and vice versa a lot. So,
guys, I feel just blessed. Talon made this process as easy as possible on us, and it's one of those things where it seemed like everything just like it was meant to be. I mean, this whole process seems like it was meant to be, that God's hand was planning this, and it's just an honor and a privilege now to be taking over Buckholtz Nursery.